let's get started with lesson 6. You've added all of the pedals to the bikes, and it's really going to be going back to square one when you first introduce the bikes to the students. It's going to be almost like a whole new bike. These have pedals now. They may be a little more intimidating for some of the students. What we're going to do is you as a teacher are going to explain that the pedals on these bikes, they're thin. They're called stride around pedals. And the reason that they're thin is because we can walk around them when we're riding. So really everything we've practiced until this point is going to remain the same. So encourage the children to get on the bikes. In the sizing overview video, you see that you don't need to adjust the seat any. We really want to be able to still get good foot movement and both feet flat on the ground. So when we're warming up, explain the pedals and really challenge some of your students to not pedal at all. We don't even want to be putting our feet on them as footrests. We're just practicing walking with the bike at that heavier weight and with these pedals in the way, really getting used to that new type of bike and the new feeling that's under them. So once we've done a few warm-up laps where you're striding around the pedals, we're going to challenge the students to put their feet up like they were before, only we're not going to start pedaling yet. All we want to do is start gliding with our feet on the pedals. This might mean getting off the bike and having the children place the pedals even with their hands in that flat position so that the pedals aren't one above the other, they're really even. And then walk with that. When you get some momentum, you can play 3, 2, 1 blast off. You can play Simon Says. You can even play red light, green light. Just get some momentum and then encourage kids to put their feet up on the pedals without pedaling. Once you see most of your class has that down, we're going to incorporate braking. So when we talk about braking, you can still brake with your feet on the ground, toes pointed up, feet flat on the ground, but also we're going to talk about the coaster brake. Something helpful is to pick up one of the bikes and physically show what happens when you press backwards when you're pedaling and that the wheel stops. So the verbal cue that you'll want to avoid is pedal backwards, because some of the students tend to stop in their tracks and really start walking backwards with the bike, and that's what we want to avoid. The verbal cue that we do want to use is to push back with your heel. So when you have your feet on the pedals, like their footrests, you can encourage push back with your heel, and that should allow that stopping motion. This might take a little bit of getting used to, and really if the children start dabbling with pedaling at this point, that's okay, because the pedals do tend to move up and down when you're practicing pushing down with your heel, and that's okay. So just getting a little bit of that braking in and that little bit of pedaling at the end of class will be good, and we'll finish this class with a closing huddle. The assessments that you want to look for in lesson 6 are that the children are comfortable with the bikes, with the pedals, able to get on and off the bike and walk with it with the pedals on. The second thing we want to look for is that children are beginning to glide with their bike with their feet on the pedals as if they were footrests. And that's it for lesson 6. Let's move on to lesson 7.
As long as you're committed to teaching kids to ride a bike, we're committed to supporting you. If you have any questions about what we covered in this training or need additional support, don't hesitate to reach out to us at info@allkidsbike.org or call us at 605-956-3877.